morning and welcome to Our Stories. Our guest today is Sandy Peterson. Sandy is going to share with us events in her life and how her faith has been a significant part of her life journey. Sandy, why don't you start first telling us a little bit about your early childhood years and the role that faith played in those. I know you are not a native Central Illinoisan.
No, I'm not. I was born in Bozeman, Montana in late 1951. And I can't really remember a time when I wasn't aware of God in my life, which I attribute to parents' early teaching. Lived in an absolutely gorgeous area where the out of doors was certainly a big part of growing up, and the creator God was definitely a part of my faith.
As you described it, your family was pretty active in your Presbyterian church, right?
Yes,
okay.
Correct.
Right.
We had quite a few of activities available at the time. I was involved in Sunday school and choir, youth group. We had a Bible camp up the canyon, so to speak, which was Gallatin Canyon, which is follows its way to Yellowstone Park, and also during the week activity time for elementary students.
So that the church provided not only religious life, but also some aspects of social life for you and your family. So that it was pretty big part of your life overall then.
It was, but it wasn't all of it. My parents had a wider group of friends and activities, and I did too. Most of my friends were from school or the neighborhood. My best friend happened to be Mormon. We had family in town, and they were Catholic. And all of the outdoor activities that Montana afforded beyond the church.
Well, as a young person growing up, you witnessed adults being active in the church, but maybe not behaving the most responsibly in other ways. How did you resolve your, notion of those two things together?
As a child, I didn't think about it much. I think you're referring to my telling you that my parents were alcoholics, and most of the adults in my family, on that side of the family, also were. And I wasn't really aware of what alcoholism was. I just was around adults who drank, and I thought that that's what you did when you grew up, that all adults drank. And I was a senior in high school before I was really conscious of the fact that that wasn't not true, and that was a choice, and it didn't have to be a problem choice. When I was at Elk Grove High, my best friend was from a very large Italian Catholic family, and they were not drinkers, but I was in and out of her home a lot,
Right.
And any meals at their house were very loud occasions, a lot of boisterous arguing and carrying on and so on. But it took me a while to realize that it was good-natured, and the arguments that I had experienced prior to that were just very tense occasions,
Right.
and this was not.
So
But you also had to kind of fight to get your food on the plate too.
So an environment there with give and take and no alcohol, that was kind of
It was a new experience for sure,
Yeah.
and a good one.
Yeah. So you graduated from high school and enrolled at Millikan here, and as you come, you decide that while you're going into teaching that you want to get involved in some other aspect of campus life, and you gravitate to drama and theater. So what was that like? What kind of life did that draw you into here at Milligan?
That was at the beginning of the college years. I decided that the Greek life really wasn't what I wanted to be a part of. And, but I needed some kind of social structure, some kind of outlet, some kind of way to meet people. And as most beginning of school years go, there were sign-up sheets here and there. And I had friends who had been involved in drama in high school at Elk Grove, and they seemed to really enjoy that, and I thought I might. So I signed up to be a part of stage crew on the first production that fall. And that led to actually a paying job in the theater department and at Kirkland Fine Arts Center. And it lent me lots of new experiences, including adding skills that I wouldn't have had otherwise, using tools and learning how to do such. And at Kirkland, I was around performers, closely around performers that were rather famous and groups that were. I was exposed to different types of music and art that I wouldn't have even thought of learning about. Yeah, prior to that time.
Well, fortunately for you and for us at First Pres, a group of fellow students decided to church hop and to see if they could find a place that they liked going to church, and it brought you to First Pres.
Yes, for sure. This particular group of people I was around, friends that I was around, all had a background of church, not Presbyterian in particular, but a variety, and all decided, I don't even remember who brought it up, but we decided to go on this journey of checking out different churches around town. And when we came to First Pres, I felt very at home. And then there were people who took an interest in that from this congregation. And I feel that there were people all through my life when I needed them, that God put people in the path that were there for a reason. And in this particular case, Carol and Joe Houston reached out and offered rides to church. Emily Kettlecamp and Karen Adele. I ended up teaching Sunday school with Karen. And there were people who drew me back in here, which I was very fortunate to have.
What have been some of the more meaningful activities that you've been part of here at First Pres?
Well, as a Presbyterian, it's hard not to be a part of a church and not be part of a committee, or two or three or four. And through the years, I've been on several, as well as being on session. And one of the ones that has been the most meaningful and consistent for me has been the Peacemaking Committee. I've been on it for a number of years, and activities that we have done have been meaningful for me and hopefully meaningful for the congregation too. I've, in the last few years, I think our committee being instrumental in developing a relationship with St. Peter's AME and with the Islamic community have been especially meaningful. Helping the congregation be a part of By Grace Orphanage and supporting it through Stand Up for Grace has been meaningful personally too. And as an educator, the Peacemaker Awards that we have been doing each year since Judy Batson brought that
Yeah.
idea to us, has been meaningful to me. Being a part of a serendipity group, which was a fellowship group, was especially important. And to say, being a part of that from its beginnings when Suzanne Vargo brought it to the congregation, and now being in a leadership role for that has been a growth experience for me.
Well, you mentioned about serendipity, so that group was together like for how long, or is it still together, or what's the?
Serendipity was an actual written program that was brought to us by, I believe, an interim pastor or associate pastor between Ron Allen and Jim Montgomery. And it was designed for a group to come together over this written program, which included Bible study and some devotional things, and a series of questions where you could get to know each other better. And then the idea was, when this period of time was over, you would branch out and start new groups. And I know that our group initially, after the first set period of time, decided we were just really getting to know each other and would like to continue in more depth, which we did for another set period of time, at which point we felt we had shared a lot of really intimate information with each other, and we're developing some strong bonds, and stayed together. We didn't stay in with the set group of questions,
Right.
but branched out from there, and different people came in and went out of the group, but there was a core group there all along. And no, we don't meet together anymore. We went through a lot of things together through many years, and during that time towards the end of our regular meeting, people had become grandparents, and their weekends tended to branch out into being somewhere where the grandkids were, or having the grandkids here. And so we just kind of petered out a bit. But the bonds are definitely still there. Those are the people here at church that I know the most about.
Yeah.
And they're the first ones I would go to if I needed something in particular.
You've been here at First Pres through a number of ministerial changes. These people all have their own style and way of doing things, but can you think of anything that you believe that they all held in common?
Well, first of all, I think they all have had a love of God and have felt the love from God to become pastors in the first place. All of them that I have experienced here have been strong preachers, in that they gave very thought-provoking sermons that led me and others to really expand our thinking. And that has grown my faith experience. All have had strong feelings about social justice and have helped lead the congregation to meaningful ways to help in our community. And here at First Pres, all have had a strong connection to music and its place in to add meaning to worship.
Well, Sandy, thanks so much for sharing your story and perspectives. It's been interesting, and really appreciated learning about it.
Thank you.